So when all these funds are being raised, my question is always is, where do they go in? Because like you've just spotted and you've correctly said, suicide rates are up, mental health conditions are up, mental health struggles are up, more and more and more people are struggling, but we're raising more and more money. Where's it going?
That's, I think, 75 to 90% of people that take their own life have reached out for help.
Yep.
So it's a huge number of people that are saying, I need help here, but the help isn't good enough.
Talking initially when you have the problem, 100%. You must reach out. We can't advocate that enough. But just going into a room week after week after week after week and talking about the same thing over and over, that's just reinforcing actually the trauma that you've got, or the weakness that you have, or the vulnerability or the deficiency that you're struggling with. Hi everyone, and welcome to a very, very special episode of the Straight Up Mental Health Hour podcast. But it's not just the Straight Up Mental Health Hour podcast today with me, Kevin Mullin.
And myself, Heather Mullin.
And myself, Colin Brown from Leap. Leap is a behavioural change platform that is designed to change your habits and by taking action and accountability.
And it's not very often people get together and do these kind of things. And when we first met Colin a while ago, we were really, really impressed with his very fresh and outspoken approach to this. And we were like, right, well, we need to get this podcast because people need to hear what we've got to say. We are going to be dispelling some of the myths around mental health today. We're going to have a very open, a very frank conversation, and we're hopefully going to dispel some of the utter bullshit that people are ramming down the necks of people out there when it comes to mental health. Colin, welcome.
Aye, thanks for having me.
You ready?
Like I say, I think it's so important for having these conversations. Obviously, I've seen a lot of the work that you do, and I love it. I think it's so refreshing to see people speaking the truth and speaking about things that maybe people don't speak about. A lot of people, I feel, jump on the same bandwagon when it comes to mental health, but that doesn't get results. And you guys get results. You get clients, regular clients, and it's because you keep them in a good place.
Absolutely.
Aye.
We shall start off with a very, very contentious subject. It's good to talk, and it is good to talk, but that's kind of where it has to be drawn. It is good to open up. You must speak to someone if you're struggling. When does it not become healthy to do that, though?
Absolutely, totally agree. Kind of the first thing you need to do is talk. If you've got a problem, speak out, talk to people, but does that create sustainability? For me, it doesn't, unless you're working towards goals or working towards these habit changes, behavioural changes, because if you just focus on the behaviour, which is maybe, like for me, it was gambling. So if I focused on just stopping gambling, that doesn't drive any change in my behaviour. So I believe that then we need to go deeper than that, and that's where like talk therapy is brilliant, and I certainly wouldn't knock it. People trying it, especially, but if it isn't working for you, then explore other avenues, how you get deeper to the core issue rather than kind of just keep going down the same rabbit hole.
I think, although I predominantly agree with the majority of things that you've said, what I would say to you though is, you said talk therapy is brilliant. We completely and utterly disagree. And the reason being is the following model. How you speak is how you think. How you think is how you feel. And how you feel is how you behave. And if you're just going to be put into a room with someone every single week, how do you feel? What did you feel when that first happened to you? What do you feel when you see that? What do you feel when someone says it? And what you do is you just talk and talk and talk. And it's a very, very fraudulent approach. And talking will not change it. We have to be more solution-based when it comes to therapy, I believe. CBT, which the NHS is a massive advocate of, was first created in the 60s and it hasn't changed much in conception. Yes, people will say, well, you know, Kevin, it's on version 4.8/6 forward paragraph 29 now. And I'm like, well, if it was that great in the first place, it wouldn't need that many amendments, right? Again, I just want to be clear that it's important that when you're struggling, it's important when you're in a bad place that you reach out and tell someone, I'm really struggling. At that point, the person that you can find or the organisation that you go to should then direct you or help you change the dynamics of that. But just to relive it week in, week out, week in, week out, it's almost like the 12 steps. Step 1, admit you are vulnerable and you have no control. Absolutely fucking not. Because if we have no control, then we can't change that. We have to take control. And there's a saying out there, you know, I believe it was Confucius that came out with, you cannot control what they do, you can only control how you react. And that's where we kind of base this therapy on. That triggers me, and that makes me think, and that triggers me, and I'm like, you can't control it. What is better than a trigger? A reaction. So if we work on reaction and not trigger, then we get to change that. We get to take control of that. And anybody that's out there that believes they are not controlling, they're the slave to the master of whatever it is the vice is, they're completely wrong. It has to be a better way than that. So yeah, talking initially when you have the problem, 100%. You must reach out. We can't advocate that enough. But just going into a room week after week after week after week and talking about the same thing over and over, that's just reinforcing actually the trauma that you've got, or the weakness that you have, or the vulnerability or the deficiency that you're struggling with. Oh, okay, yeah, I hear you, I get you. Well, you know, let's try for a better week this week. And we're sending people out the door armed with no more than willpower. Willpower is a 10% tool against 100% mindset. And you're never going to win. And you must have heard people say, oh, I've got terrible willpower. Newsflash, we've all got terrible willpower. It's 10%.
Aye, and that sort of thing that you mentioned, the kind of identity reinforcement, it actually makes your self-worth get worse each and every time you do it. So each and every time you maybe leave a room and you've been speaking about your experiences that you're struggling to break free from, you keep reliving your kind of
every time
traumas or kind of negative things that's happened in your life. It's natural that you'll eventually turn back into that kind of self-sabotage. All it takes is some kind of thing to happen in your life and you turn back to what we're familiar with. Our subconscious mind does protect us, and that's why we turn back to what we're familiar with rather than learn new things. And that is what creates changes. When you take action to create change by repeating positive actions, that is what I believe can create change.
And you're 100% spot on. There has to be action to create change. And so many people believe knowledge is power. No, absolutely not. It's the action that gives you that power. Knowledge is just information stored in your head. We're all knowledgeable. Reading a book, you know, watching a video, listen to a podcast. And if you're going to listen to this podcast wherever you are and go, that was a really good podcast, they were really open with that. And I like how they look and I like how they think and I like those ideas, and then do nothing with them, then this podcast is shit.
You need to put the action into it, don't you?
It's reflecting on how you're behaving and then putting actions in to replace the kind of behaviours that is causing a negative impact.
Yep.
But everybody's too busy riding on the wave of it's good to talk.
Aye, and I do, and I know I probably didn't come across the way that I wanted to there, because it's so good to get things off your chest, but like I say, it's not enough. For me, it's not enough, because it's getting the solution and it's getting the end goal, and I didn't believe talking about it is enough.
Talking about it's great, but we need the coping mechanisms and the strategies to get where we need to get to.
Yeah.
Like changing that internal dialogue as well.
But it's all right, and do you know why?
Why?
Because everybody's raising awareness. It's all about the awareness, isn't it?
Aye, that's another thing I would kind of like to speak about today. So a lot of the things you'll maybe see in media, awareness campaigns, we're raising money. A couple of weeks ago, we had a Scottish charity in our work doing our mental health talk, and the very first thing they done before they spoke about anything to do with mental health was, if anybody wants to raise money for us, we're doing marathons, hikes, anything like that, feel free, can get in contact with us. So I believe that a lot of it's about raising money, but it's what we're doing with the money. If we're not making any changes with what we're doing, suicide rates are going up each year, addiction rates are going up, people are struggling more than ever, but we keep going down the same way treating it. So that's why I believe like Mullins therapy is so refreshing, because it's a different way of dealing with it, and I'm certain that you'll get better results than what is out there.
And we don't raise money. We are self-sufficient. We pay for everything you see. Yeah. We pay out of our own pocket. We don't fundraise because we don't have time, because we're helping that many people. There is a very large, probably one of the largest organisations, and we're not here to hammer any particular people. That's not what we're doing. But you know, the CEO, there we go. The CEO, 150k a year. That's over 10k a month in wages to one person of said charity. That is absolutely astronomical when you think of the average wage of the average person in this country. So when all these funds are being raised, my question is always, where are they going? Because like you've just spotted and you've correctly said, suicide rates are up, mental health conditions are up, mental health struggles are up. More and more and more people are struggling, but we're raising more and more money. Where's it going? Well, because we're coming into an organisation or a workplace and saying, right, guys, before we do anything for your mental health, which we're here for, I just want to offer you the opportunity to raise funds. Right, how's about we forget raising funds and we actually focus on what we're meant to do? Is there MD in this room struggling? Is there MD in this room that are on the bones of their arse? Is there MD in this room that doesn't know if they've got a tomorrow in them? Put your hand up, tell the truth, shame the devil, and let us help you. Let us show you, let us educate you, let us guide you, let us direct you. No, that's not what we're doing. You know, it's okay to be not okay, just breathe, and tomorrow is a new day. Yet that stopped working 20 years ago, but yet we're still peddling the same utter bullshit from what we were then. And that's why the numbers are going up. And I'm a big fan of mental health charities and organisations going out there, because clearly the government aren't doing what they're meant to be doing. And it's okay to say, yeah, the government are putting more funds into it. Again, wonderful. Show me the results, show me the numbers, show me the stats. Oh no, you're all too busy hiding the numbers and fudging the stats, because if we show you the truth, you'll discover that we're just piling money into, you know, things that don't actually make a difference. So again, you can see I'm getting passionate about it, because that money could be put to good use.
Aye, and rightly passionate towards it, I think, as well. Like, I'm not saying awareness shouldn't be happening, because obviously continuous awareness has got to be there.
Absolutely.
But it's what we do with it. It's like, what are we just raising awareness to raise more funds? Where are the funds going? Let's be transparent about it as well. Yeah. Let's be transparent about where the money is going, what results we're getting, how it's making improvements, because without that, you're just raising money.
Everybody's raising money, but I don't see what they're doing with it. Oh, we run community workshops. Oh, okay, that's wonderful. How many, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might be an idiot, but how many middle-aged men or women feel comfortable sitting in a group setting in a community centre in their area, where people they know run the community centre, and saying, I'm depressed or I'm anxious and I'm thinking about, you know, not being here. How many people are comfortable doing that for these community workshops? Absolutely none. It's people that go there, then take a bloody picture and post it to their social media and say, yeah, I went to the community workshop today to help with mental health. Go me, everyone tell me how wonderful I am, please. That's actually what's happening. And people will come at me for this, and I give zero shits, because that's the truth. And when we hide away from the truth, we just go off the optics, and the optics are absolutely shocking. But hey, you get to feel good about yourself because you put a picture on social media, you trying to help somebody who struggled with their mental health. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And that's where, like, I've been pretty much doing what I'm doing for just over 2 years now, and I'm not going to lie, at times it's felt like a struggle, because collaboration is kind of like, certainly in the gambling sector, that is like, oh, we need to all collaborate together. But because my way of thinking is different for a lot of people, not interested. And then, but do I go then jump on the bandwagon with everybody else just to maybe make a bit of money, get a bit? No, that's my morals tell me that I need to stand by what I believe in. I want to make genuine change rather than just kind of like jump on the bandwagon and be like I'm helping mental health, but I'm not helping mental health. That wouldn't sit well with me. I want to make a genuine difference and help people rather than just tick boxes. And I believe, like say, like e-learning courses, for example, in workplaces, which again, big mental health charity in Scotland have said they're going to be rolling out e-learning courses. A lot of rubbish. Absolute.
Yeah.
I mean, I do e-learning courses at my work, and you just click through it all to the quiz at the end, and then do the quiz, get your marks, get your certificate, learn nothing.
No, you're 100% right. I've done
that
myself over the years.
And being unable to recognise that from a mental health point of view and having that as a mental health tool isn't acceptable. It's just no good enough. And workplaces, again, a lot of them will tick the box, right? We've done this for mental health. We've got e-learning courses, but it's not helping the workforce. It's not helping workplace sickness, workplace absences, accidents, everything.
We have lots of clients, and we initially asked them what brought you to us. I said, well, I went through mental health in the workplace, and they gave me the number of Blue Umbrella, who are a mental health company that work for my company, and we phone up and we speak to a counsellor or we speak to a therapist, but they don't actually tell me nothing. They just say, oh, okay, yeah, well, life is tough. Yeah, somebody struggling with their mental health
doesn't want to hear that.
Doesn't want to hear life is tough. We are aware. We are all very much well aware life is difficult. Nobody's disputing that. So what can you teach me to help navigate the difficulty? Because I don't have those tools. I don't have that mindset. I don't have that knowledge. I don't have that ability. Just telling me, it's shit won't make it any less shit, but it won't help me get out of it. So again, workplace mental health, not all of them. I work for some companies that actually put me in the room with the person struggling or put the person struggling in my room, and they're brilliant. But like I said, 90% of companies at the moment are like phone that hotline and phone that line and you'll speak to somebody and they'll help you. They won't help you, they'll listen because it's the cheapest option. And unfortunately, when you put a price on a life, that's what you're going to get. And that's why it's deteriorating, because we're raising all these funds or we're earning all this money, but we're putting a price on how much we actually want to help somebody.
And kind of touching back on the awareness and people speaking out, I think the stats, 75 to 90% of people that take their own life have reached out for help.
Yep.
So it's a huge number of people that are saying, I need help here, but the help isn't good enough. So again, I've been working on a report for that and showing why we need to make changes. And that's one of the big reasons why the platform I've got, Take Leap app, it's going to be, we're going to try and approach workplaces, and I've already spoke to workplaces about how we could implement this to actually change behaviours of the workforce so that they didn't feel down, they didn't feel just no good to be around. Because if you're around people that are negative, you tend to be negative.
Just rubs off, doesn't it?
Kind of like if I go into work, I start back on Wednesday and I can't wait till next Tuesday till I break off. Is that the way we want to be at our work or living our life?
Spend the majority of time at our work, don't we?
Exactly. So it's about changing the behaviours and trying to...
I think workplaces need to remember the people that work for them make them a great deal of money. They should invest at least a minimum, at least 20% back into the workforce. At least, and if they're not, they're doing it wrong. But Blue Umbrella costs them, a grand a month. You got people raking in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50k a month for you, and you're spending, a month on a hotline.
And it's something that I kind of thought about a lot, as a lot of people invest in, like if your roof's leaking, you'll get your roof fixed. If your lights aren't working, you'll get an electrician. But if you're in a bad place mentally, you'll just want either to fix it by trying things yourself or going to someone for free. But see if you invest in your mental health, see if you sit down with you and do a properly dive deep into your problems, you'll get results.
The problem I've got with that, and it's universal, I've seen it in every country I've been to, when it comes to physical health, people are productive and proactive. So you get enough sleep, you drink enough water, you eat, you rest. If you're sore, you go get it looked at, right? So you're proactive with your physicality.
Mm-hmm.
You're reactive with your mentality. You wait until it's broke, and then you go and do it.
Aye.
And that's the big problem. And we have to make, mentality and physicality on the same, platform where you look after both equally as well. And if you practice bridging statements, if you practice realistic, approaches and disciplines and, productivity, you'll stay on top of your mental health. That's why on our slogans we say to get you on top and keep you on top of your mental health, because it can be kept on top of. Otherwise, everybody would be struggling.
Because again, you didn't want your client to leave the doors and then a year later they're back at you saying, you want them to get them in a good place so they can stay in a good place.
The days of lifelong therapy are done.
Aye.
And if you're a CBT therapist or a psychologist or a psychotherapist out there and you've got a client on 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you're kicking the arse at it and you're literally ripping the piss. It doesn't need to be that way. We are way past that. There's method and techniques, there's things, there's mindsets, philosophies out there that will create lightning-like change, and it'll be for life. It'll be for life because we make it consecutive and we get repetition, and that becomes habitual. And anything habitual is non-thinking, right?
Yep.
And we are way, way past, but people believe they need to be in therapy for the rest of life. All you're doing is you're getting your therapist to have 2 holidays in Bali a year and drive Discovery, which is wonderful and all. But for us, we want 46 sessions max, in, out, fix, go live your life. That's what people are after. It's why we become popular, because we don't kick the arse and extend the therapy for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. It's just ridiculous.
It's not keeping people stuck. It's
no.
Making that progression so that they can go out the room and they'll be back.
Therapy isn't a crutch. Your mindset needs to be. It needs to be not only your crutch but your legs, not only your legs but your feet, not only your feet but your shoes, and it needs to make you run harder, quicker, faster and better than everyone around you. Because when you live that mindset, when you live that belief system, you're going to be all right. Yeah, life's going to kick your ass, by the way, and it's going to throw problems at you that you least expected. But the whole point of putting someone in therapy and helping them in a therapeutic, safe environment is not to give them a life abundantly free of problems. It's to allow them to deal with whatever problems comes when it comes and move on in a healthy, safe manner.
See, my experience, I counsel on 3 different occasions and I've seen a psychiatrist, and each time, let us say, it was good getting things off my chest, how I was feeling, but the sustainability of it just wasn't there. I wasn't given the tools to then leave the room.
No.
What I need to be doing to try and keep me in that positive kind of mindset to move on. I was constantly thinking, right, when's my next session? So I'd be going back to then get off my chest how I was feeling about. So there was no progression there. I was constantly just almost needing my next session so that I was feeling good about myself because I got off my chest.
We have clients come in, and whether it's 4 or 6 week sessions they come in for session 1 to session 6. There's always methods, there's always techniques, there's strategies, there's coping mechanisms, there's changing the internal dialogues, one of the massive big things. Like, they get tools every time they come in. And then we'll keep in touch with them between session 1 to session 2 and so forth. Like, we're always there for them.
Aye.
I do want to acknowledge, and I don't want people to listen to this podcast and think, are they just going to crucify everybody they talk about? And I'm going to say something popular about an extremely unpopular organisation. It's called the government. And they've just banned social media for under 16s. And that actually is probably one of the best moves they have made in a long, long time. Where do you sit with that one?
So I personally think it's the platforms that need to be held accountable. Platforms, you're seeing half-naked OnlyFans girls, you're seeing gambling adverts, you're seeing people glamorising lives that aren't realistic to most people. And it's just allowed, and young people are looking up to it. Like obviously after the gambling sense, there's your influencers, your Jake Pauls, they're all advertising betting companies. So young people naturally think, oh,
I'll start betting.
I'll start doing that. And then for some people, they'll be able to handle it. some people won't, and they'll just go down chasing the lifestyle that they want, that they can't, that's not realistic.
I watched GMTV the other morning, just after the ban was announced, and she interviewed 3 teenagers, and it was at that point I thought, this is the best move ever. And these 3 teenagers were saying, I don't know how I can live without it. It's my life. Everything in my life is on this phone.
Aye.
And we're not talking about taking your phone away. We're just saying you're not going to be allowed to access social media platforms. How are they going to enforce it? Well, there's another conversation, and you know, that's a Pandora's box that's going to be opened very, very shortly, because somebody is going to have to come out and say, and this is how we're going to enforce it. Initially, we're going to come out and say, right, we're banning it. Brilliant. You'll probably not get many parents that will go, oh, gutted. I love my kid sitting on TikTok or Insta or Facebook or X for, you know, 12 hours out of 24. Oh, that's devastating. The lazy parents who, you know, depend on it to keep their kid occupied and they'll be getting humped right now going, I'm not lazy, but it's freedom of choice. Yeah, until they hit 16, not really, no, it's your job to guide and direct. So I think it's a brilliant move. How they're going to enforce it, I'm interested to see the plan. Because it is going to have to be a plan. They're going to put, you know, age identity and all that good stuff in. They'll probably have to get parental rights put into it as well. But that's for another organisation to work out and put it out to, this is how we're enforcing it. And if it's unrealistic, you know, government, if it's unrealistic, your plan to enforce this, trust me, within about 6 minutes of you putting your plan out there, the public are going to tell you. So instead of, you know, 5 lords and ladies from Puzzle Palace sitting in a very comfortable room in Chesterfield sofas drinking Pims and coming out with how to do it, why don't we get an organisation to come out to the public and speak to people like you and speak to parents and speak to, you know, teenagers who are not teenagers that were in that position and ask them, how could this best be enforced, and take all those opinions and put them together and say, right, actually, if we do that would probably be the best approach. We know that's not going to happen, and, you know, Lord Farquhar and Lady fucking Idiot is going to sit and go, well, we're going to do that, which is wonderful and all. But again, I think probably the healthiest approach would be go to the service users, the people doing it, and say, well, what do you believe would be the best approach to navigate this, and how can we police social media use in under 16s? The actual concept of it, you know, you're not going to hear a complaint out of my mouth, but really, really interested actually to see how they're going to police that and how they're going to go about it.
I think there's no doubts that social media is detrimental to so much kids nowadays.
It's dangerous.
It is, but I do think that the platforms have got away with too much, and the algorithm can let you can watch someone, and then all of a sudden you're seeing it all the time. So I think that's what's dangerous. So I think there's a lot of positives for it as well, but I think it should just be managed better. But I know that that's certainly
for
not.
bullying awareness as well. I mean, Snapchat's one of the worst.
Snapchat's probably one of the
Bullying.
that's probably the worst platform.
Absolutely.
There's certain platforms that need to be decommissioned instantly.
That's one of them.
Would say Snapchat.
There's nothing positive
definitely
with
one
that,
of them.
really.
And there's certain platforms that will need to be monitored. But bear in mind, the largest platform out there, which is called TikTok, which is the largest platform now by a 3-to-1 ratio.
Aye.
It's a Chinese platform, and you can't monitor that. This government need to put, you know, stipends on it and say, no, we won't. And it can be done because, and again, people might hate me for saying this, but in countries like, you know, the United Arab Emirates, for example, it's heavily monitored and regulated. And if a small country like that can do it, well, why can't a large innovative country like ours do it? And it can be done. So again, it's questionable as to why are we not doing this right now anyway?
Again, I think obviously the ban happened in Australia for social media, and I don't think it's been successful for what I've heard. So again, it's how it's getting implemented. It will be interesting, but it's kind of falls into Gen Z are supposedly the most unhappy generation, and is social media playing a part in that? Possibly.
Well, if you think about what social media for the majority of the time, gives someone. It gives them gratification. It gives them acknowledgement. It gives them that external validation. All of those things create a chemical, and the chemical starts with the letter D.
Dopamine.
And they are constantly getting dopamine hits, right? So if that's their only source of said dopamine, and another way to achieve dopamine, in case people don't know this, is by setting and achieving goals. Every time you set and achieve a goal or a target, you get a dopamine hit, right? The easiest way to do that is the night before you go to sleep. Tomorrow morning I'm up at A, I'm doing B, I'm doing C, E, F, G. That morning you wake up, you hit A, B, C, D, F, G, dopamine, 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 because you can't flood your system with dopamine and then completely cut it off. It doesn't work like that. That's not how we work as human beings. So when you then take that dopamine hit away from them, or threaten to take that dopamine hit away from them, that's why they crash, and that's why they're extremely unhappy, because they've confused, I believe, and again, they can come at me, I give zero shits here, they've confused popularity with happiness. And they are two very, very different creatures, right? I am not popular, I am happy. And again, it's that popularity equates to happiness.
And I think the majority of people would be the opposite. They crave the popularity, but maybe sit in their bed and scroll through their phone. Like first thing in the morning, a lot of people
It's the first thing they do.
I think it's a high start again. People reach for their phone for instant gratification, for instant dopamine, and rather than saying, right, I'm leaving that for half an hour until I've showered, cleaned my teeth, made my breakfast, made my bed. Simple things that make you feel like you've accomplished something.
We have a rule here. We teach a model to our clients, and it's called life balance. Not work-life balance. That's not what we do. It's called life balance, and it has to be an eclectic mix of wants versus needs. Need to get up, need to get dressed, need to get breakfast, need to get shaved, need to do your hair, need to get in the car, need to drive to work, need to do your work, need to have lunch, need to go back to work, need to finish work, need to get in the car, need to come home, need to make dinner, need to speak to the wife, need to speak to the husband, need to see the kids, need to put them to bed, need to get washed, need to get showered, need to get to bed, need to get to sleep, need to get up. That's draining saying it, right? They're living a need lifestyle. Needs don't give you exhilaration. They don't give you happiness. Have you ever put a shoe on and went, holy shit bags, that was the best shoe putting on I've ever done? No. Needs are just things you do to survive, right? You don't really get happy with needs.
No.
Wants make you happy.
That's what gives you the drive.
Our life balance model is you start with a want, you finish with a want. And at no period during your want start or your want finish are you allowed to use a mobile communication device. So that half-hour want in the morning is you, and it can be you just getting up, having a tea or a coffee, looking out the window at the rain or the birds, or it can be you doing a bit of meditation, it can be you reading a chapter of a book, it can be you doing your exercise, it can be you eating a healthy meal or preparing a meal, it can be anything that doesn't involve a phone, but it has to be something that gives you something. And a lot of people, like, the alarm goes off and you're like, oh my God, I'm late, and and you're straight up and you're straight dressed and you grab a bit of toast and you don't get a cup of tea, or you out the door and you're stuck in traffic and you're straight.
Everything becomes a thought, and it's like, oh no, I'm running late, or oh no, I'm got to day without my breakfast. And then, but once you have the kind of set goals almost throughout the day, or have that quiet 5 minutes to reflect, how did yesterday go? Come on, it went well, or that didn't go so well. Then you learn for these sort of things. You start putting things in place so that you didn't repeat the behaviours.
The thing is, if you get your wants, the needs will take care of themselves.
I think part of the answer, we've just actually answered the last question. How do we get them to change from mobile communication devices to actually living a life? And we've just actually gave a bit of an answer to that question. I didn't know what we were doing until I just realised what we'd said. If we can teach want and need and balance, get these kids to start with a want, get them to do something that gives them something that doesn't involve a phone, and they get used to getting gratification from their achievement and not what someone says about them. That's actually part of the answer to how we do that transition, right? Because they're getting something and it doesn't involve a phone. And phones are great because, you know, you can speak to your family on holiday. Or
use it in the right way,
It's been so diluted, the purpose of it. it's just, it beggars belief. So
There
that
was,
has to change.
when I was speaking to like organisations and charities and whatever about the kind of app that I've got, I spoke to somebody who run like a teenagers thing, and they says I don't think it's relevant to the work that we do, and that kind of gave me alarm bells. I was thinking, if you didn't think that behaviours as a teenager or can affect your how the way you think going forward, that is kind of, that was giving me alarm bells, like I say.
Definitely.
But you know what? It's okay to be not okay, right?
Aye, and again, it's something that I've heard you say. It's something that I believe in myself a lot. If we accept it's okay, if we accept that things won't change, if we accept that we're depressed and we're going to lie on the couch and nobody's going to help us, it's almost like you're pointing the fingers at everybody else. It's their fault that I'm feeling this way. But it's not okay. It's okay if you accept it. You're not going to change. Again, we've spoken about it already, but
absolutely hate, and let me make it clear, that's with a capital H, an E, a T, and an E, the sentence, it's okay to be not okay. I want you to take the second okay, and I want you to change it to the issue. It's okay to want to self-harm. It's okay to want to starve yourself to within an inch of your life. It's okay to bed rot and not move and think the world's, closing in on you. It's okay to hurt yourself. It's okay to take yourself off this planet. Why on earth is that okay? We need to do better. Anything that's okay has got no importance and no urgency to change.
yeah,
We need to change it. I understand you're not okay, so let's do something about it. That even has a nicer ring to it. I understand you're not okay, so let's do something about it. And you can increase that, let's do something about it. You can say it louder, let's do something about it. Let's do something about it. And even saying it like that, you're like, okay,
I'm going to do something
let's
about
do
it.
something. As
Aye.
opposed to, it's okay to be not okay.
Right.
Oh, it's okay, I'll just lie in bed for another 12 hours and rip myself apart in my thoughts.
It's frustrating when you see people maybe 10 years down the line and they're still, it's okay to be not okay. And it's like, well, Ken, for me, that's just no good enough.
I had an organisation that asked me to do something for them, the big players at the time in the world of mental health. I agreed to do it, and about 4 days later they come back to me, they said, would you seen one of your videos? And I'm like, right, you said it's not okay to be not okay. And I was like, right, did you listen to the video or did you just get the tagline? No, we listened. But that completely goes against our company ethos, and we've created a whole organisation on it's okay to be not okay. And I'm like, and that's why I agreed to work with you, because I need to change that because it's wrong. And they let me go on the spot.
And again,
that, but it just shows you that mentality, that ignorance not to want to evolve and have a look at others' approaches and different approaches. I've said it a million times. Everybody in the world of mental health, all my haters, all your trolls, all your non-believers, all the 12-step gurus who don't like it that you're not a 12-stepper, right? I want them all to adopt Walt Whitman. Be curious, not judgmental or reactionary. Why are they doing it that way? Why are they doing it like that? What are they achieving with that? What are they doing that we're not doing? Be curious. Don't just be judgmental because it's not your way. There's a million ways to China. There's not just one way. And if that way is blocked, go that way. And if that way is blocked, that's fine, go that way. And if you can't go over it, go around it. If you can't go around it, go under it. And if you can't go under it, go bloody through it. Because there is a different way. And we have to be advocates here of different ways, different results. It can't be the same thing all the time. And that whole it's okay to be not okay, it literally boils my blood because it doesn't create change.
Yeah.
But I get you're not okay. So let's do something about it. I can guarantee you that will.
So another thing I would like to ask you as well is something about, like, if somebody's been on antidepressants, for example, for 20 years and they're still going to their doctor each, I don't know what the cycles are, 6 weeks or whatever, and they're going back and it's almost just repetition. Yeah. There's more tablets.
The antidepressants were initially created as a small-time, short-term fix for someone going through a tumultuous period. They've evolved into long-term sustainability and that crutch thing. And we need to be very, very mindful and careful here because people will screenshot and clip and edit this part and, put it out with zero context. So I will say it loud for, you know, the people in the back who want to do that. We are not physicians, we are not doctors. We do not sit and advise anyone on medication because we're not qualified to do so.
You'll have clients that will ask for medication, not our job.
And we're
That's a
not qualified
GP.
to tell them to take medication or not take medication. But I am allowed an opinion on it, right?
Yep.
Okay, here's my opinion. An SSRI is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. The keyword, serotonin. So it's giving you serotonin, right? Did you know you are capable of releasing dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins? Therefore, power chemicals. Take the first letter of each name, D-O-S-E. What do you get?
Dose.
You can dose yourself.
We
And you
use
need
that all
to
the time.
dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins.
Yep.
And there's certain things that you need to do to achieve DOSE. But if you're doing that for yourself, then surely you can get stronger doing it that way than just taking that one.
And that's
Does
where
that make
kind of
sense?
I would say, like, that's where the doctor should then step in and say, look, this is because the patient then becomes reliant on.
But there are doctors out there, I know personally, a doctor who's pretty high up in the whole scheme of things, and I can't say where or when or who, because that will be all obvious. But he doesn't advise. He's like, right, why don't you try this, and why don't you go there, and why don't you go at this, and you know, if you do that, you do that, you do that. And if we're being honest, although we are critical of the mental health NHS system because of the system that you use, I've known doctors for the beginning of time that have told their patients, look, you need to get a little bit more exercise in, you need to get out of the house, you need to stop locking yourself away. They're not all throwaway lines, by the way. Their lines are designed to help enhance the person's dose. That oxytocin, that serotonin does, vitamin D, that melatonin, so the doctors have actually been trying to be more educational with this, but because their policy and their procedure won't allow that, CBT.
And I think it's like 1 in 8 people in the UK are taking antidepressants. So there will be a lot of listeners, obviously, that this might be you, but it's just trying to tell people that they've got more control than maybe they're made out that they think they have. You're the driver of your own car in your life, so let's try and do something about it.
You are 100%. Somebody asked me the other day, when does life change, Kevin? And I said, that's easy. When you realise for the first time you're 100% in control of what you do and where it goes. You're fat, you don't like it, exercise, lose weight. You're too skinny and you don't like it, eat more, exercise, put mass on. You're in a shitty relationship, leave it. You're not a tree, you're not rooted to the floor. You have a choice, you can move that. Don't like your friends, don't go around them. Don't like your job, educate yourself, apply for a better one. You control absolutely everything you do. But people don't see it like that, and they say, oh, this is my life, and this is what I've got, and this is what the world has dealt me. The world will deal you nothing, it never has, it never will. You will create and you will get, not what you want or what you feel you deserve. You will, however, only get what you believe. And if you believe you're limited and that's your life, then that is going to be your life. And that's the whole point of podcasts like this, to give them a different look, to give them a different mindset. I'm telling you right now, if you're listening or watching us, right, there may be things in life that you don't feel you can't do. That's bullshit. There is nothing you cannot do. There's just a load of stuff you don't know how. So go learn it. And there is a world of resources at your fingertips. You know, Google used to be the go-to, right? ChatGPT is even smarter than Google. ChatGPT is like Google's big brother, but like smart. And there is a world of knowledge and actually step-by-step instruction out there for you to change.
Aye.
Because everybody that is successful wasn't born successful. Some of them were born, you know, fortunate, some were born unfortunate. But nobody was born successful. That was created. We are all capable of creating success. Our belief system will decide whether we do or whether we don't. But you can change that belief system. A belief system is just what you've told yourself repeatedly for years.
It's easier than ever to kind of create the life that you want, because there's that much support kind of out there. And like, it might not be everybody's cup of tea with what we're talking about, but it's just to encourage people to
listen. I'm good.
There's
If
different
have a
options
big-
out there. Massive different options.
if we put this up on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, break the clips down, which we will, I would imagine, and put on social media, if we get one like, I'm good with it, because it means it's hit one person. One person's got a different outlook, and I'm alright with that, because if I can change the world one at a time, I'll keep going until I don't have any breath in my body.
Aye, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing as well, because I've seen the change in myself.
Yeah.
I believe that anybody could do it. I once thought that I would always be stuck in my ways where I was. I was kind of told that throughout my life, that I'll always be a gambler. I'll always be suffering an addiction. So I was suffering as a result because I didn't see light at the end of the tunnel. But now I do, and I'm past that. I didn't refer to the person I was 3 years ago, because I'm not the same person. I'm completely changed.
I don't give a shit what the NHS says. They are not the guardians for mental health therapy. I do not give a shit what AA or 12 steppers tell me. They are not the guardians and the only solution to addiction recovery. There are way, 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 way more options out there now than there ever has been. And we need to start looking at them all and embracing them all. And if they are non-regressive and safe, go into them. They will work or they won't. If it doesn't work, that's okay. Out you come, try another. Out you come, try another. But it can't just be one fit, one size for everybody. And that's what the world of mental health and actually the world of addiction have tried to, facilitate. They've franchised it almost. If you struggle with your mental health, it's CBT. If you struggle with addiction, it's the 12 steps. No, I know people out there that woke up one day and went, I'm done. I am done. No more drinking, no more smoking, no more gambling, no more philandering, no more, beat myself up for everything. I'm done, over, finished, finito. And they woke up the next day and they never touched a drink or a drug or an addiction or a destructive behaviour again in life. Where was their coaching? Where was their therapy? Where was their help? Nowhere. What did they do? They woke up, they made a choice.
Aye.
And we're all capable of that choice. And that's what I said earlier. When you realise you're 100% in control on what comes next, your life will change.
There's one thing with what you're saying there, people that maybe woke up and says, right, come on, I'm not having a drink, and just do it. There's one thing that they'll definitely not do is keep doing the same actions. Keep having the same environment, identity. That'll change, because once it starts changing, you'll start changing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people, as we've spoken about with social media, and teenagers who will become adults, and there's a lot of adults, I see a lot of adults out there like the same, and people think popularity, is happiness. But being popular probably won't make you happy. And if you're happy, you're probably not popular. And you don't get both. You get one or the other. And that's it. This isn't the ideal world with the ideal life and the ideal solution and the ideal situation where you get everything you want. If that was the case, we'd all be happy, right? I want hair. Guess what? Don't have it. All right with that. I'll go over it.
Aye.
I'm not going to, retreat to my room and bed rot. But everybody's living in this philosophy. I have everything. I want everything. I want to be popular. I want to be happy. I want to be rich. Everybody wants to live in a castle. Yeah, but nobody wants to move into the boathouse at the bottom of the castle and work their way up.
It's finding the contentness in your life.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. I hope this chat has gave you a different outlook. I hope this chat has gave you something to think about, something to chew on, something to mull over. I've really, really enjoyed it. So, Colin, thank you so much for coming along and doing that with us. And we will be back in a couple of weeks. Colin, finishing lines, finishing sentence, an epiphany, a bomb drop, a golden moment for somebody listening today. What you got, my friend? No pressure.
Thanks to you both for inviting me along. Obviously, we've got a app, Take Leap, which is, our mantra is real growth happens within. So it is telling you that you can control your own destiny, and it's by creating the changes in your life, the habits, the identity, the environment, like I said, and use the techniques that are on the app. It'd be that's basically it.
Folks, take care. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Cheers.